If you suck at realism, this video is for you. When it comes to trying to accomplish realism to any degree, there are some things that we do and there are some things that we just don't do. If you're not sure on the don'ts, then applying any sort of realistic design, whether it's on the easier side or more advanced spectrum, is going to be a difficult challenge. Much like lining, when we are applying any sort of realistic design, there are a set of rules that we are going to want to follow, and there is a workflow that we are going to want to get comfortable with. In this video, I'm going to show you that. One of the main things that I consider when I'm applying any sort of realistic design is the needle size that I am using and the size of the design. The size of the design is going to help me determine what needle best suits that specific design. So for example, we have these two eyes right here, and they're not that big. You can see they're a bit bigger than my thumb. They're about the size of a blister pack, as you can see. What that means to me is, with all the detail that's included here, I'm gonna have to get a really fine needle so that way I can be really accurate with where I'm depositing the ink. This right here is a Stigma 5-round liner. In my opinion, for my specific application, this one's still too big for me. This 5-round liner is not something that I would want to use here, although most artists would be okay using it. For me, I would feel more comfortable using a 003-round liner so that way I could be really precise with my deposits and get a little bit more of a tighter deposit. Don't skip this part of the video, because if you do, I assure you there's going to be missing gaps within your bridge. If I were to pick, for example, a 7-round shader, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get these little hair-like textures or little details in the eye or anything like that. So one of the first things that you want to do is pay attention to the needle that you pick. Make sure that you pick a needle that is applicable to the tattoo design that you will be tattooing. Got that? Good. Let's move on to the next part. Another big consideration is the stroke of your machine. Depending on what sort of realistic style you're going for, that definitely does matter. If you're going for like hyper realistic results, I do not recommend using a stroke above a 3.5. However, if you're going for, more portrait style results where it actually has a portrait frame as if it's a picture, but still on the realistic side, then using a machine that's above a 3.5 may be a better way to go. This part is important to pay attention to, but there is no concrete absolute path. It is going to be determined by what feels better to you as the artist. The whole point here is, though, you have to pay attention to the needle that you are using. You got to pay attention to the stroke of the machine. Once you get to that point, you also got to pay attention to the voltage that you were using. So I have a 4.2 millimeter stroke. This is a Muso Toku Mercury M1 tattoo machine. This is a CNC 003-round liner. Since I'm using a smaller configuration, I want to run at a lower voltage, so I'm going to start at around 4 volts, also considering that this machine hits a little bit harder. So that is the logic behind my setup and the reasoning behind the setup that I'm using. The choices that I'm making are all determined by the specific design that I will be tattooing. It's very important that we pay attention to this aspect and not overlook this. All right, enough of that stuff. Let's get into the actual technical application. Let's talk about some do's and some don'ts when it comes to achieving a realistic style design. Let me talk about some things that we don't do when it comes to applying realistic style designs. Some things that we don't do is we definitely don't approach it like lining. It's going to be completely different. We're going to want to get comfortable with the idea of working off just the very tips of our needles and building up to a specific result, as opposed to accomplishing that result almost instantaneously the same way we would as lining. So what that means is, for example, I'm going to approach it by identifying my A and B points still. That aspect doesn't change, but what does change is the way that I'm actually applying these tattoos. So I'm not going to be doing any sort of A, B hard lining. We're not doing any of that. What I'm doing here is I'm identifying the textures, and I'm going to work off the very tip of the needle to kind of build these up. So you're going to see that here's one little hair texture. I'm not going full saturation. I'm not approaching it the same way that I would lining. What I'm doing is I'm building up a sort of taper here by tapering in and out. And that is essentially the go with a sort of realistic design. You really want to build up the entire design. You don't want to hard line anything. Like for example, this eye right here, I'm not going to hard line this and then start filling this in. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a series of motions the way you see me doing here. So for example, let's go to this hair texture, and I'll kind of jump around and show you my points here. So this hair texture is going to get built up. Some of them are going to be darker than others. That's okay. That kind of adds to the sort of realistic approach, organic feel, I would say. So you can kind of get the idea. There's nothing that's being hardlined. Each one of these little lines has to be sculpted and implemented into the design one by one. You can see I'm tapering out. It's a completely different approach than lining. This is not anything like lining. I think that's what confused me at the beginning when I first started trying to get into, realistic style designs. The idea of building up the tattoo is what really threw me for a loop. I always felt like we had to deposit the ink right away. However, we can definitely build up layers to different tones, to different techniques, to different textures. That can all be done in layers. It doesn't have to be straight away like lining, and that's important to remember. Another thing with realistic designs is we don't want, as I mentioned a little bit ago, we don't want to hard line anything. You don't. You want to build up the entire tattoo. So let's say, for example, I'm going to be tattooing in this area right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just use a series of like tally-like motions And I'm going to use it to kind of establish this edge here like so. And then the same thing over here. And I'm starting from that base that I just defined. So essentially, this first area was just to establish the boundary so I know which side not to go out of. Allow me to go this way here. You can see that I'm not doing this right here. I'm not hardlining. We're not taking that approach. We're using a series of pendulum back and forth motions to establish the boundary, and then we use a series of whip motions to establish the imagery. So for me, I have to boundarize first, and then I establish the details and the imagery last. So that's what I mean by building it up. Boundarize and then establish. So you can kind of see I'm using whip motions here to darken this area. That right there is the, I guess, grand difference from lining and shading. This technique is nothing like shading. I'm sorry, this technique is nothing like lining, and it should be treated completely different. You should approach it with care, caution. I mean, every technique should be, but this one specific, you got to really pay attention to the details and really pay attention to your layers, your gradients. Make sure that your darker areas are consistent. Make sure that your lighter areas are smooth. You get the idea. And that's the difference for me between lining and shading. It took me a long time to understand the concept of just simply building up. I used to think that this would damage the skin, but once we get our technique aligned from a technical aspect, it becomes really difficult to damage the skin the way that we assume. Assumption-based tattooing is the worst way to tattoo. So you can see I'm just slight layers. I'm not adding pressure either. I'm working off the tip of my needle, which is why it's not depositing saturation straight away. The idea of realistic style designs is to build up as opposed to apply. With lining, for example, we would just simply apply the lines, straight away we go. With realistic style designs, we build up to the textures that we are looking for. And that is a completely different ball game. You can see building up requires me to use sort of pendulum-like motions like this. There we go. So you can see I'm using the small needle grouping to my advantage to get really tight, sharp ends right here to really mimic the details of the eye. And you can see that I'm not getting any sort of hard lines. Nothing's consistent, which is exactly what I'm going for. This is a more of a realistic design. There's going to be inconsistencies in all the right places with the correct texture alignment. So you can see here, doing the same thing. You kind of see that this side's a little faded, but that's not really a problem if we approach it by boundarizing first. So I'm just going to use a series of tallies here as I have been, and then boundarize this area. Same thing right here. Bring it around like so. And then continue building it up the exact same way that I've showed you. I'm going to use whip motions this way, applying darker areas in the correct spots, the lighter areas in the correct places, and you get the idea. So there's no definitive hard lining. When I put ointment and remove, it should lighten up even more, as you can see. So this approach allows me to get that sort of realistic look here, from lights to dark, shadings in the right places, darks in the correct spots, lights in the correct places. You get the idea. It doesn't look blotchy. There is no hard lining and then hard filling in. There's none of that. There's just a slow, gradual process of building up this entire tattoo. The main takeaway from this video is to fight the current urge to want to hard line and fill in. That's exactly what we have to break away from to start accomplishing more realistic results. You don't want to hard line and fill in. For example, you see this little pupil circle right here? I'm not going to hard line it in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use whip motions right here to kind of go back into these right here that are existing. And then from here, I'm going to use more whip-like pendulum motions going this way to kind of establish the circle and where I'm going to be shading and whipping in. So you can see none of this is hard lining. This is all just very, very light, kind of like grazing of the skin. And then from here, you can see this is where it starts getting dark when I start doing this. When I start adding the whip motions, pendulum motions in here, you can see circular motions. Since this area goes dominantly darker, that's how I would approach this area. I'm not going for a solid fill either. I'm going for an organic fill. So back and forth like so. There we go. And if you're concerned about damaging the skin is a matter of technique and technical application. So if we're damaging the skin earlier on, we just need more work on these techniques that I'm sharing with you here. Over time, damaging of the skin becomes more difficult than norm. So right here at the edge, you kind of see that there's a line here. Instead of hard lining that, I'm just gonna whip off of that line, use whip motions to create more depth here off of that line. And if I apply it correctly, you shouldn't be able to tell that there was ever even a line there. You can kind of see that little by little, it does start taking shape. One thing with realistic designs is, especially if you're going for like hyperrealism, is that this process cannot be rushed. So if you even rush your lining, I would recommend developing a more patient workflow, because this really does require time and continuous effort, because you're going to be layering up to your final tone. That can take sometimes 5, 10 layers, depending on, again, your technique and your technical application. This does a good job at getting my point across when I say that we have to layer up to accomplish more of a realistic sort of look within our tattoos. Granted, this isn't hyper realistic and this isn't even the best. However, the rule of thumb would still apply to any artist. We have to layer up and build up a realistic look versus apply it straight on the same way we would like packing or lining. The real takeaway is getting comfortable with the idea of building up and using gradual motions to get to a point of saturation and or transition. Getting comfortable with that is probably the most difficult part. Once we start getting fluid with that, then the sort of realistic approach becomes second nature, and before we know it, we're doing full-on portraits. That will be it for this one. I do hope that you can find some value from this video. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop a comment down below. I will do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. If you found this video helpful, consider giving my video a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more content like this, as I will be bringing more videos like this and more audio videos with me developing audio plugins for you all. For now, that will be it for today. Once again, I appreciate you, your time, and your support. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great day.